Good morning, fellow Martians. Welcome back to another episode of Mixed Martian Arts. My name is Austin Shaper, and this is a show where we explore the topics of UAP, UFC, and World War III, today being a UAP UFO episode. Now, I have two subjects to discuss today that are rather annoying, and at the end of the day, that seems to be my catchphrase lately, at the end of the day. At the end of the frickin' day, I would say that regarding this phenomenon, and the possibility of disclosure coming at some point. If you asked me, am I a glass half full or glass half empty type of person, I would have to tell you guys the truth, which is that I am half glass empty. I don't really look at the recent revelations that have happened and the news headlines you guys are seeing all over the place. I don't really see anything that gets me believing that there is some massive disclosure or revelation coming. I do see, as I mentioned in last week's episode, that I believe there are warring factions inside the government. There are real whistleblowers such as David Grush and others who are trying to do the right thing, the patriotic thing, by bringing this to the appropriate places, people who are in the know, that genuinely want this to get out into the public and feel that we have a right and a need to know. There are people out there. So I admit that, but on the counterpoint, I think the establishment and whoever it is, whoever these powers are that are keeping this under wraps, they've done it for so long. I mean, at least since the 30s, probably longer, but at least since the 1930s. And they're really good at their job. They've had decades of practice, and they're in cahoots with government, media, military, so on and so forth. So I do hold out a little bit of optimism. I'm not all the way negative, thinking this is never going to come to the surface, but I think that the human lifespan of 100 years or less is a short time for us to believe with any level of certainty that you and I, are going to get some sort of disclosure in our lifetime. I hope I am wrong. If I was 100% convinced of what I just said right there, I probably wouldn't be doing a show on the phenomenon, right? Because what's the point if we're never going to get answers? What's the point of blabbing about it so often? So I do hold out some hope, but at the end of the day, I am half glass empty on this subject. I am not overly optimistic. Some people are, and some people think we're getting free energy and, it's going to change the world and we're not going to have to poison the planet anymore because we're going to get this technology and all this stuff. And it sounds very utopian and wonderful and bliss. And I hate to break it to you, but the world is not usually that way. We live in a crazy simulation. And, as I mentioned, there's powers that be that want to keep this under wraps. So today, I'm going to bring up two organizations that I've got some gripes about. So you guys know that David Grush, we'll start with this one. David Grush brought his testimony along with evidence, along with witnesses, direct witnesses to the legacy programs of, the people who are reverse engineering said UFO craft and have interacted with the bodies and all these things that David Grush has alleged. He brought this to the Inspector General of the intelligence community in Washington, D.C. To my understanding, that is like the police of the police. It's the one who investigates the investigator. So it's the organization and the Inspector General who investigates corruption and conspiracy and whatnot inside the government. So he brought it to the right place. David Grush brought all of his evidence and testimony and everything he found to the right person. Now, we got this letter, and I'm going to be reading this in real time. I haven't read it yet because I kind of wanted to just do it live on here. But we got this letter from, I don't know if it's from, let me make sure this is from Tim Burchett, the congressman who was leading, one of the leaders of the congressional hearing that happened with the 3 whistleblowers that we got like 2 months ago. Well, we got this letter. I think it's from the Inspector General of the intelligence community. And in summary, what I was seeing people in the UFO community talk about was that this letter basically was insinuating that the Inspector General has come out and stated that they have not investigated the specificity of David Grush's claims, which is crazy because it's been months and months and months. I mean, it's been months since we heard his testimony in Congress, but it's been probably a year, maybe even 2 years since he made these claims to the Inspector General, and they've yet to come out with any conclusion. They've yet to do any thorough, specific investigation. And that is a major red flag, one that I was expecting. A lot of other people looked at it, as I said, kind of glass half full. And they said, oh, David Grush brought it to the right places. We're going to get answers soon. This Inspector General is going to come out and tell us, he did a thorough investigation. I mean, it's very obvious that David Grush came with his guns loaded. He brought a ton of evidence. We don't know what all that evidence is, so it's kind of hard to speculate on that, but we do know that he interviewed almost 40 whistleblowers that were directly in the program, high levels of security clearance, high credibility, who've been in the government for a long time. So he brought all that to this guy. And let's see what this letter says. It says, Dear Representatives Burchett, so this is to Burchett and the other representatives, Moskowitz, Luna, Mace, Burleson, and Ogles. Don't know who the hell that is. It says, I write in, so this is coming from the Inspector General, just to clarify, to the congressmen and so on. I write in response to your letter dated August 21st, 2023, when Tim Burchett sent a letter, basically requesting information on this and seeing where the process was at. But it says, I write in response to your letter dated August 21st, 2023, in which you reference testimony provided by Mr. David Grush at a July 26, 2023 hearing of the Subcommittee on National Security, the Border and Foreign Affairs of the Committee on Oversight and Accountability of the blah, blah, blah House Representatives regarding UAP. In your letter, you requested that the Office of the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, ICIG for abbreviation, answer questions regarding which intelligence community members, positions, facilities, military bases, or other actions or other actors involved with alleged UAP programs, either directly or indirectly. So very specific request. Goes on to say the ICIG takes seriously its responsibility to provide whistleblowers with appropriate, secure, and lawful channels for conveying complaints and information to Congress. The lawful channel Congress established is the urgent concern process. Remember, they found David Grush's claims, the ICIG, to be credible and urgent. So, sounds important to me. It says, blah, 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 provides a direct avenue for members of the intelligence community to provide information on matters meeting the statutory definition of an urgent concern. I'm going to say aliens probably checks that box off. Would you agree? Goes on to say ICIG also takes seriously its own responsibility to support congressional oversight and does so in the manner specified and required by statute by keeping the Congressional Intelligence Committees fully and currently informed about significant problems and deficiencies relating to programs and activities within the responsibility and authority of the Director of the Intelligence Community. Blah, 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 blah. So basically, this is just to say they responded, the ICIG Attorney General, whatever his name is, not really sure, responded and basically said, they have not found anything about this investigation thus far, and they're going to continue. And, they're transparent with the public. They're transparent with Congress. And if there's anything to let them know, they're going to let them know. It's a bunch of nonsense. Probably a waste of time to even read that, but it just goes to show you that David Grush bringing such a serious claim to supposedly the correct sources in the government, and it's been, a year, and the government comes back and says, nothing to see here. We haven't found anything. We've done no thorough, specific investigation, and I didn't read you guys the entire letter. It goes on and on and on to basically state in summary that they have not thoroughly investigated the specific claims that David Grush has made, but that it's ongoing, and if they find anything, they will be transparent with Congress and the American people. A bunch of garbage. And just digressing on a side topic, you guys know, if you follow my channel, I put out a video the other day about NASA's UFO report that just released a few days back that basically stated, wouldn't you know it, stated that they have found no signs of extraterrestrial life, no evidence that the UAP phenomenon relates in any way to extraterrestrial life, and that they are authentic and transparent with the American people. It's the same shit we hear every day, guys. They're transparent, and I forget his name, Bill something. I call him Bill the Shill, but one of the heads of NASA said that, and if they do find any evidence of that, the American people will be the first to know, and they will absolutely be transparent. One, I thought it was funny that they were so specific to say it had no extraterrestrial origins. And it's like, bro, nobody here is saying or asking for you to answer, does it only have extraterrestrial origins? We want to know if it has any non-human intelligence origins. Not extraterrestrial. Doesn't have to be the aliens from Mars attacks coming from Mars. Could be interdimensional. Could be subterranean within the Earth. Could be interdimensional from another dimension. Could be a lot of different things, right? So it's funny how they specific. I always feel that they're wording it in such a way that they can answer very specific things, and then by doing that, they're broad brushing, like, oh, you don't need to worry about it. We just told you there's no aliens. But it's like, man, we didn't ask about extraterrestrials. We asked about non-human intelligence, and you won't give us a clear answer. And so the ICIG, along with NASA, are just shilling for the government and prolonging the exact same cover-up that has been going on for 100 years or more, 100 years or more. But I want to read you guys. So, John Greenwald, I mentioned him. He's the guy who does the FOIA requests. He has a company called the Black Vault. He uploads all kinds of redacted documents that he obtained through the FOIA request. And he said the NASA UFO study was flawed from the start. Any scientific study that intentionally limits the data they look at is not a scientific study at all. Now, listen to this next part. They chose to dismiss classified data so that they could give a false aura of transparency, but still tried to say what UFOs weren't. Now, what is he saying there? From what I heard, what John Greenwald is alleging, NASA excluded, in this UAP report that they just released, they excluded classified data. They said, we're not going to do this with classified data. We're only going to do it with public data that anybody can see. Unclassified reports, unclassified evidence, intelligence, so on and so forth. That is so absurd. Meanwhile, they said at the beginning of the press conference, at least the part that I saw, about how they are a part of the government. And so they say when people don't trust the government, we are telling you, NASA, we are part of the government and we are transparent with the American people. And then proceeds to do this entire report based on non-classified intelligence and dismisses all classified intelligence so that they could turn around and say, see, we're being transparent with the American people. And the rationale being if they opened this investigation in this report using classified material, classified intelligence, they wouldn't be able to share any said intelligence with the American people when they release their report. So, oh my goodness, the merry-go-round that we are on is just so... It's beyond belief. So they look at that, Bill the shill and the other leaders of NASA look at that as, oh, see, guys, we're being so transparent with you all. We're being so transparent that we didn't even bother using classified intelligence. We actually dismissed it because we want to be transparent with you. We want to be authentic. And if we looked at the real evidence, we wouldn't be able to be transparent with you. So rest assured, don't look into those files. It's okay that they're all redacted. It's okay. Trust us. We looked at the evidence, and we found no conclusive evidence to tell you guys that there's any extraterrestrial life. We're not even going to address the point of non-human intelligence. I thought it was absolutely hilarious when somebody asked Bill about David Grush's testimony, and he basically said, where's the evidence? And he said, I saw it on the nightly TV, insinuating he hasn't even looked at David Grush's full testimony. He watched the highlights on CBS News or CNN. He didn't even do, the guy who is tasked with studying the UFO phenomenon is uninterested in looking at and hearing David Grush's testimony. The most credible whistleblower we've seen in recent times. He's very uninterested and lackadaisical about looking at his report, his testimony, his evidence. He's uninterested, guys. It doesn't matter. No big deal. He said, where's the proof? Okay, well, maybe if you went looking for the proof, maybe if you had the classification to see the proof, maybe if you went directly to David Grush and spoke to him, you could have done a better UFO UAP report. NASA, you absolutely suck. You're a bunch of shills. It's insane that anybody even listens to that. I only listened to it because I knew it was going to have some ridiculous take, and sure enough, it did. And I predicted almost word for word what it was going to say. And the fact that finding out after the hearing, or after the press conference, you could say, after that they did not use classified material in their report is, I don't even, my brain fries when I hear that. I mean, how can you possibly say you're being transparent when you're ignoring where the real data is? The real data, the real reports, the real evidence, the real testimony is all going to be inherently classified. We know this. Everybody knows this. You can even ask the John Kirbys and the Bidens and all the people on the top of the government if UAP information and evidence and footage, et cetera, is classified. They're going to tell you yes for national security reasons. You know, it could be adversarial tech. We don't want to let them know what we've got, what they've got, so on and so forth. It's inherently classified. So for NASA to even attempt this investigation, which they put off providing the results for like months and months. I think they're supposed to give it in like July or at the latest August, and we get it like halfway through September, and it's the most bogus report that I could have written in 5 minutes. Perfect example of what we're working with. So that is why, to summarize today's episode, that is why I am a glass half empty. Look at these fools. Look at it. Our only hope. We're not getting managed disclosure. My opinion, could be wrong, but my opinion, we're not getting managed disclosure. This is not some conspiracy or attempt by the government to slowly drip us the alien news. I don't think so. I've heard the rumors. There's a date coming from the aliens, 2027, all these different dates, and they're giving the governments of the world the time to prepare the population for this paradigm-shattering news. I've heard the theories. I suppose I'm open to them. But to me, as I said in last week's episode, if that were the case, to play devil's advocate, okay, they're doing a managed disclosure. The government is slowly trying to tell us about aliens, slowly trying to tell us about UFOs, but they don't want to freak us out, so they're going nice and slow and easy. Why would you allow NASA, the one that we all trust and look at as the authority in space and the authority on these issues, why would they come out and basically deny the entire existence of all this if this slow drip theory was the prevailing truth? If it was what we were experiencing right now, this slow drip leading up to a final moment of disclosure or something along those lines, everything that I'm seeing is the opposite. What the ICIG general just said doesn't seem to line up with that. What NASA just said doesn't seem to line up with that theory. So I think at the end of the day, the best theory we can come up with is, hey, there's some warring factions going on. We don't know who's going to come out on top. Is it the ones who are fighting for disclosure, or is it the ones who've been winning and steamrolling us for the past 100 years, who have basically all the tools, all the resources, all the power, they've got everything they need. They got everything they need to keep this under wraps. And while they do have rather annoying, in their mindset, annoying leakers such as David Grush come out, it's pretty easy to discredit him and to send him to these down these rabbit holes of testimony where he thinks he's going to the right place. And props to him. He's no dummy. He is going to where he should, if these guys were honest, where it should be reported. But they're not honest. And at the end of the day, I mean, it sucks for David Grush, but like, he should Julian Assange this whole thing and just dump everything he's got, dump all the evidence, and then like flee to Cuba or something, because we're not getting it. If he goes through these proper channels, I hate to break it to you, this is just my opinion, I'm open to being wrong, but in my opinion, we're not getting anything from that. Look what the whatever his name is, the Attorney General just said. It's just a commitment to transparency, a commitment to Congress. It's a bunch of garbage. When everything they say, if you look at what they say and then look at what's happening and look at what they're doing, why are they always the exact opposite? They treat us like we are so dumb, and maybe because at a mass scale, when you add all of us together, we are pretty dumb, and it's kind of hard to concentrate on these far out there subjects like UFOs and stuff when we got real problems like the economy and potential wars looming and elections coming, and it just seems like this is on the back burner. But the individuals out there, myself and others who are fascinated with the subject, who know that there's some sort of reality to it, regardless of what that is, we're open to hearing it, we're open to the truth. We just know that there's something to it and that the government's hiding something. It's hard to be optimistic. It's very hard to be optimistic. Even David Grush's claims will reach the light of day. And he's clearly, we're 2 months removed from the hearing, and he's yet to get into a skiff with Congress. It's not that hard to schedule a meeting inside of a skiff, right? How hard could it be? Okay, look at the time slots. Oh, it says 8 a.m. on Thursday. Hey, Congressman Burchett, you free Thursday? Okay, cool. Let's meet up and have coffee and talk about this for an hour. It's that easy. And if it's harder and I don't know what I'm talking about, well, then that's just more loopholes put in the way to make this impossible. So while I do respect what David Grush is doing, I'm not optimistic that it's going to really have the impact that he hopes that he does. And hopefully he reaches that time period and he just dumps all the intel on the internet and flees to some other country that will maybe give him safe harbor. Because I don't see any other way. This is going to come to the light. NASA is not going to do it. No one's going to do it. No one in the government's going to do it. It's their job to lie. It's their job to hide. It's their job to cover up. And they're very, very good at it, and they've done it for a very, very long time. So I'm sorry to bring you guys the negative news. I was hoping to bring you something more positive, but I'm here to follow this wherever it goes. I'm not going to sit here for views or attention and give you guys some false sense that disclosure is imminent, and you got to check in on my channel tomorrow because I'll be the first to announce it. I'm giving it to you as I'm seeing it, as I see it right now. It's dicey. It's dicey for those who are looking for the truth. But we will keep our ears to the ground. We will keep our eyes open, and we will hope that something changes. Things do change over time. So we have to be open-minded, and I do believe one day this will be revealed. Will it be in our lifetime? Hard to say. Unless something really leaks, unless some monumental event happens, it's kind of hard to see that it could. But, time changes. Things change. Nothing stays the same. Life is in constant motion. So we will wait. We will see. I will keep you guys updated as it evolves. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you appreciate this type of content, you like UFO news, you like World War III news, you like covering the UFC, do me a favor, just click subscribe on the YouTube channel right below. It helps me out. It takes 1 second. It's free, easy, and it's very helpful to what I'm trying to do on this channel. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can do live chats. If you listen to the podcast on Podcast Addict, Spotify, Apple Podcast, just click follow, leave me a 5-star review. That helps show the podcast to other people who have not already seen it. It'll recommend it to them. I would greatly appreciate that. And then lastly, if you guys would like to be a part of this conversation on a daily basis with myself and other people, we got a very small group on Discord called Mixed Martial Arts, where we talk about the news, ask questions, share our experiences, share our interests in 1, 2, or all 3 of these different groups, these different topics. We have 3 subgroups at Mixed Martial Arts. Just click the link in the description. You can join that and talk to people like myself all over the place who enjoy following these subjects. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be back with another episode, maybe tomorrow, if not tomorrow, Wednesday. So I will let you guys know. I think we're going to have a guest on this week talking about some geopolitical World War III news. So stay tuned for that. Hope you all have a good day. Is disclosure coming? Let's wait and see. I'm not overly optimistic. We shall wait. We shall see. Peace out, everybody.